Hey people, back on the Facebook Live. As always, if you're watching later on YouTube, hit subscribe so you don't miss anything. And Instagram as well. Share, like, comment with anyone you think may benefit from this. So, I don't even really want to keep on talking about this, but I feel like I have to because of the world we're living in. I'd much rather talk about ways to improve your health, and I've actually got a really good video coming up. Well, topic to talk about tomorrow, which is something that was said off the record to one of my clients by a consultant, which is really, it's a really good story actually, which we'll get to. But I feel like I have to address this about the WHO, because I put out a post yesterday. It went sort of semi-viral. It's been shared quite a lot about how the WHO even admitted, like, asymptomatic people, spreading the virus is very, very rare. And since then, they apparently have backtracked and said, oh, well, that's not true. People have got to respect social distancing is still, etc. Now, look, as my friend Dr. Terry Tillard would say, if you believe that healthy people can transmit a virus or a disease, then I've got some ocean seafront for you in New York, or wherever he says, Nebraska, or wherever it is. So it's really important people understand why, like, help. For example, why I quote the WHO sometimes. I think they're one of the most corrupt organisations in the world. They're simply beholden to their shareholders. And so they only really admit things when they really have to, or when there's a financial incentive to them, okay? Which has just been proved. If you remember, I put a post up before. Bill Gates, who's now their biggest contributor, because, since Donald Trump pulled out funding for the WHO, because they did literally, for want of a Cockney phrase, they don't know their arse from their elbow, or they just make it up as they go along. The WHO, Bill Gates, a few months ago wanted to tell the world that it was a pandemic. The WHO actually said no, that it's not a pandemic. We're not going out and saying that. Bill Gates then gave them $50 million for a therapeutic accelerator, and the next day the Secretary General for the WHO come out and declared COVID-19 a pandemic. So take from that what you will. And so yesterday, this lady that came out and said, look, asymptomatic people spreading the virus is going to be very rare. Let's be honest. If you saw the parties that they were having in the Ozarks two and a half weeks ago in America with no new cases there, it's just it's not rare. It just doesn't happen. But she's had to come out and backtrack because no worries. She had to come out and backtrack because, once again, beholden to their shareholders, and it doesn't fit their vaccine agenda. If you all of a sudden say, oh, people that are asymptomatic are nothing to be worried about, then why have we got to inject the world with what's going to be a vaccine that will be a complete health disaster, and no one's going to have responsibility for it as well. They're only going to be able to profit from it. They're going to take all their risk away from. No one can be prosecuted for it. All we can do is profit from it. But that doesn't fit their agenda. So I wouldn't be surprised if the lady who said that doesn't get highly reprimanded, or she doesn't get sacked. Now, if you believe that these companies really have your best interests at heart, then I'd like to, not being horrible, but I think you're highly gullible. All you have to do is look into any sort of research on marketing, etc., on what these companies do. Big Pharma have done it. Big Pharma spend 19 times the amount on marketing than they do on actual research. That goes to show you where their priorities lie. And I said before, if the WHO really cared about you, or if the government really cared about you, they would have spoken long ago about what you can do to create a healthy body that I keep on posting every day. Breath work, get out, fresh air, sunlight, sun exposure, organic food or healthy food, hydration, hot and cold therapy, all these things that you can be doing. Really, really important to boost the immune system, or keep your immune system healthy, as well as creating a healthy microbiome. Fermented food, cultured foods, probiotics, doing all the things to keep yourself healthy. Being around other people, being outside, being around other humans. It's how you develop a strong immune system. You've been exposed to pathogens. If you think you can hide from pathogens and bacteria, then you are highly mistaken. It's like trying to hide from God. It's completely bonkers. If you think gloves, it's like if you think gloves and a mask is going to help you, all they're going to do is actually detract from building your immune system. no worries, my man. I'll keep doing this. So it's like, and then you get people coming to my post. Oh, who knows my? I get attacked all the time. I mean, in fact, you guys that share my stuff, thank you very much for spreading the truth, because we're not out there trying to change the people's mind who's never going to be changed, because they've bought into this wholly, and they actually think that, like, by staying at home they're doing something, they're bastions of health, when in fact they're actually the complete opposite. And then people say, oh, you're dangerous spreading this information. No, what's dangerous is people believing this nonsense and locking themselves away. This economic crash that's coming, that people don't realise what's coming. For the moment, they've printed, like, in America, they've printed trillions more dollars. They've done the same over here. Like, they're pumping in money and they're paying people when they're not at work. And you cannot do that to the economy. At the moment, people haven't felt it because they're being paid by the government. It's like being put under anaesthetic while they take your organs out, your gut, your colon, your spleen, etc. When they finally do you up and you put you back in the room, and you wake up and that aesthetic wears off, the pain's going to come, and people don't understand how much is coming in terms of financial and economic destruction. So, this is what, at the moment, people are being furloughed and being paid by the government. When that wears off and people haven't got jobs, the death tolls and poverty coming from this is going to be huge. People say, oh yeah, but people are dying. People are dying from it. I'm not saying people haven't died from this or from a lot of doctors. I've had doctors and nurses messaging me and saying, look, please don't say this, but I've seen what's happening. I'm actually leaving my job because the treatment we're giving is killing them. It's actually looks like a bacterial infection rather than it's a hypoxia. Lots been going on, and people don't realise that the treatment and people staying at home and being furloughed, etc., how much that's dangerous. Not exposing yourself to a virus which has got a 0.0046% fatality rate. I said before, the average age of people dying with COVID is higher than the average age of life expectancy anyway. If you're under 50, you're more likely to get hit by a car and die. If you're a child, you're more likely to be struck by lightning. These are the statistics, and yet we've got people hiding away from this thing, which is absolute madness. And people say, well, people have died from it. Yeah, I know people that have died from pneumonia last year, very young, but we didn't shut the world down. And also, no one really knows the death statistics because they lied so much on. You saw many people. You've seen the posts that have gone out, like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of posts of people saying, my mum had cancer, etc., and they put it down as COVID. And in America, this is why, and in the UK, this is why they spiked the death rate spiked. Everything was dropping until they changed what it takes to be put on the death certificate. I think it was around the 26th of April, I think, and then all of a sudden it spiked. And so, yeah, look, if people attack you for spreading the truth, then they're going to attack you because they think that they're doing right. But unfortunately, I had someone a minute ago, who knows more, someone's trying people attack me, call me bogus, etc. Well, what cracks me up with that is I actually live on results. If I didn't get results, people wouldn't have been doing this 11 years now, which is funny. And when you actually give them evidence, they're not the doctors that they follow, so it doesn't count. So don't worry, keep on spreading the truth. It's really important because there's people out there that are waking up, that are slowly understanding. If this was a real pandemic, then surely everyone I know would be under real threat, and I'll be hearing about my best friends and people dying all the time. But the stats have just gone down. It's nothing to do with social distancing, because if you think that for example, over here it's 2 meters. In America and the USA, America and the USA. In America and Spain, it's 1.5 meters, because apparently it can jump higher, further over here than it can over there. And so, yeah, you just have to look at these companies and what they're trying to bring in and what fits their narrative. If everyone's scared to death, they can start pushing vaccinations and mandatory vaccinations. If you haven't looked into solutionsempowerment.com about non-consent forms for that, then I definitely think you should. But Professor Cahill came out a few weeks ago and did a fantastic talk about it. She's been working in virology and what's she called, like case 1 or case 2 virology labs for years and years and years, and she said that this is complete nonsense. We should be opening up the whole world right now. This is like 3 weeks ago. We're still under the guise of locking people down is going to do them any favours. It's really not. And I said before, quoted Dr. Patar, Dr. Andrew Kaufman. Dr. Patar had 160 other doctors. Tony Robbins has gone out there and interviewed all different doctors from around the world, and said he wasn't coming out. Someone who's got 5.2 million followers wasn't coming out and saying much. But as I said before, when your whole business relies on people coming to your events, there's only so long you can sit back and say nothing. And so it's great to see him out there talking about this and what's really going on. So just remember, when it comes to people like the WHO will only, they're beholden to their shareholders. What they say goes, and if they come out, they'll backtrack. People say, when the research comes out that's changed. If this was a real pandemic, said before, you'd be seeing people dying that it doesn't matter what age you are. It's just mental what's going on here. So just take everything with a huge pinch of salt and do everything you can to keep yourself healthy. As I said before, clean water, lot of hydration, out in the fresh air as much as you can. When it's sunny, get out in the sun. Exercise intelligently, get good sleep, turn off your Wi-Fi at night. Do all these things that the government haven't mentioned once. Being frightened to death, there's something called the placebo effect. As I mentioned before, there's something called the nocebo effect, which means if you can scare yourself ill, you can actually scare yourself ill. The placebo effect works 34 to 68% of the time, okay? And it works the same in reverse. You can actually frighten yourself to death, to illness, okay? So relaxing around this is huge. And yeah, go out there, and I'd say that I'll be meeting other people, speaking to them, shaking hands. I've been doing it the whole time. It's how you build up immunity. Dr. Paul Saladino talks about it all the time. People talk about how to create a healthy microbiome. One of the best things you can do to create a healthy microbiome is actually go out in nature, and you can actually touch rocks and dirt and move around and whatever it is. It's how you expose yourself to these pathogens, microbes. I'm not going to say viruses anymore, because viruses are actually exogenous, are actually made inside. Talking about parasites, microbes, pathogens, etc., bacteria, yes. Hey, Helen. Yes, but when it comes to viruses, very, very different. And this is why they were saying, like, the treatment we've been giving people, and I've had many, many nurses telling me this, the treatment we've been giving people has been killing people because we're treating them for a virus and this isn't a viral infection. And lots of times, bacteria get named as viruses. You look into Big Pharma, you've got trillions of dollars locked into this. So yeah, hello from Mexico. So you just got to realise what's coming. And as I said before, there's articles out there today. I've got tagged in a couple saying the conspiracy theorists mean conspiracy fact, right? Conspiracy analysts. We look at things. If people don't think these people are out there conspiring, they haven't read a history book. Haven't read a history book at all. It's all history book is full of people conspiring to do certain things. And people who benefit from it. They want to get rid of the middle class, only have the higher elite, and then the poor. No worries, my man. Also, Mike, I'm glad people are getting some good information. Look, I don't even really want to, because I want to helping people get over health issues, illnesses. This is what I deal with on a daily basis, and everything I said goes against the mainstream. You know what? It's why we get the results we do. As I said before, what qualifications you got, Ryan? Well, I've actually got a degree in nutrition. And if I used it, my clients would be 10 times worse than what they are today. They would be very, very ill. It's how I got very, very ill, amongst other things as well. And so, it's why I said before, it's why do you think all the people that are in my world, people I interview, etc., none of them have got ill. They've all been helping people overcome chronic illnesses, advanced diseases for a long period of time. We've dealt with pathogens, microbes, etc., a lot, and dealt with parasites, all these things. And when you have a healthy, look into terrain theory rather than germ theory. Louis Pasteur, who is the bastion of germ theory, on his deathbed even said, look, the germ is nothing, the terrain is everything. When you've got a healthy internal environment, no pathogen, microbe, parasite can take it over. One of the stories I've dealt with, one of the ladies that I had lady who was out in, one of my clients out in America, for 40 years she worked on the same farm, okay? And 40 years she worked on the same farm. And been absolutely fine, healthy as can be. Then 1 year, she actually got bitten by a tick and developed Lyme. Now, she didn't get ill, or and there was ticks, plenty of ticks throughout a whole time she was working on that farm. Before she got bitten, 6 months previous to this, she actually went through a divorce. She was really run down, wasn't treating herself right, extremely stressed, and then that's when she got bitten by the tick and developed Lyme. No coincidence. Okay, when you're run down, that's when things like parasites, ticks, etc. can come into your system. For all those years when she was healthy, happy, nothing happened to her because it knew it couldn't. These things will only come after a host that they feel they can take over. You're always going to have some pathogens, some bacteria there. It's like candida. You're always going to have candida, but you're only getting infection when you're living in dysfunction and you're overly stressed. And then you get a build-up of candida sometimes because, it's actually protecting your body from heavy metals, which other people don't understand. So, yeah, don't worry, Ben. People can think you're nuts. But, people thought I'm nuts for years, so don't worry about it. And just keep results after results after results. It's like, actually, he keeps on getting results. Maybe I'll start to listen. I've had it with lots of people. This is a good thing about myself and others like Warren Williams out there. I mean, I've got loads of people I can talk about. I mean, one of my mentors, Paul Check. I mean, I've got Jason Christoph and Terry Tillard, and I mean, the list is endless. I can go into people, and so Nico Becker for another one. Like, there's a reason why we do what we do. We can't keep on doing what we do for 11 years. Paul Check, for example, been talking about this for 35 years. People thought he was a nutcase. He's the one who actually started to put butter in coffee, yet Dave Asprey gets the credit for it. Paul Check brought Swiss balls into gyms, He's been talking about the gut-brain connection when people laughed him out of lecture halls. That was 30 years ago. And all of a sudden, it's funny how how everyone's talking about it now. It's like, the things that create health will always create health. So just getting rid of that stress, that worry about things straight away is going to be a massive boost to your immune system, and then start doing everything else you can. Okay. And I don't really even like talking about the WHO, really, because I use them to back up stuff that I say sometimes, because I know the general public really buy into them, because then they've been told. If you go on Google, for example, you type in the WHO, comes out the World Health Organization, and do a little bit of research into the World Health Organization. Get off Google, go into Quant, do some research into the World Health Organization. Look at who they are and who backs them. Look into the people behind them, what they've been into, and see what they're doing. The reason we use it sometimes to back up what we say is because people buy into it. And so, sometimes you've got to use the tools at your disposal. Someone said to me today, are you going to backtrack on what you said yesterday because they've come out and they've backtracked? Absolutely not. I think that they're a complete joke. And asymptomatic people can't spread stuff. You can't spread disease. This is the same. You can't catch disease, just like you can't catch health. A healthy person, they've got the world thinking that healthy people can go out there and spread disease. Madness. Anyway, I hope this helps, guys and girls. And if you haven't before, go and do research into how much these companies, the vaccine companies, and what they're doing. Instead of talking to everyone and talking to them about how to build health, and the government coming out and giving people. Don't worry about them. I had some guy on here before, Mike. He's just a wally. You instead of the government going out there and telling people how to create a healthy body, they're driving. When the economy's completely destroyed, they've just put 1.65 billion into Garvey. Billion. For example, we don't understand how much a billion is. For example, I think it's like if you do a million seconds, I think like a million seconds is like 4 days or something. A billion seconds, like 34 years. That's how much difference it is, and that's what they're putting into it. So you've got to be your own press. You've got to be your own press. I said before, you've got to make yourself immune to the media, because they will just fill your head full of nonsense. They'll tell you black's white and white's black, and you'll be like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense. But they get some PhD, which we call piled higher and deeper from somewhere, who's been paid to say something, and they'll just these people don't understand how much these doctors get paid. And if they don't go along or don't toe the party line, then they get their funding pulled. That's what happens, said before. Exactly. Helen, Helen's been there. Helen's walked away from it. Had a cancer, given 100 days to live, still here. Now giving lectures around the world. And this is what I want you to do. We all make you self-sufficient. They don't want you self-sufficient. They want you reliant on them. They want you just well enough so they can keep you alive with their drugs. Big Pharma, I said before, 19 times more money on marketing than research is what they spend. You need to look into these things. I think if they really cared about your health, they'd be telling you to do the things that they know. Just put it simply, nutrition doesn't make a difference. Really? So why is some food called junk food and other food called healthy food? Just simple things like that. Okay. And anyway, I hope this helps. I've got on a bit of a rant here, But yeah, no, keep on doing all the things you can to create health. And I've got a good video tomorrow about what a doctor said to one of my clients off the record, because I'd much rather be talking about that. But I just feel like we have to talk about this at the moment because my colleague said, you didn't breathe anyone else's air. Yeah, I know. We just go around breathing our own air, don't we? It's amazing. It's actually laughable. It's just mental. Put it this way, yeah? If you walk into a restaurant and you put a mask on, can you still smell the food? You think those particles are getting through your mask and your gloves? What happens when you take the gloves off? What happens when you meet everyone? Oh no, it's alright, the virus is gone now. Okay. Anyway, I hope this helps people. Got some good podcasts coming up as well on different topics because I want to change the narrative around this as much as possible. The only conversation I really want to hear is about what we can do. All the research comes out as well and shows that respiratory infections, and people that are most likely to get respiratory infections are those with are obese and overweight. Massively in one of the posts I'm going to pop about with Mike. Metabolic Mike, he talks about this. He goes into a lot of research around this. So yeah, this is something you need to look at if you want to be healthy and lean. So you want to be healthy, you need to be lean enough, and then other things that promote health. Okay, do those things, and you know, too much fat can be a hormone. It can get issues. It can do. I mean, when you're overweight by too much, when you're overweight and when you're especially going into those levels of obesity, every single chronic illness, the rate of getting them goes up. And you know, it's just another way just to break down your weakness in your genetic chain. So keep on doing all the things that you do to create health. Go through my posts if you want to. If you've got any other health issues and you need help, you know, chronic illnesses, advanced diseases, and you want help, give me a shout. Send me an inbox on here, or send me an inbox at ryan@reviveyourself.co. Yeah, keep on spreading the truth if you can, and if you get people giving you, for want of a better word, shit because of it, don't worry, just know you're doing it right, doing something right. You know, I think it was Winston Churchill who said a controversial figure this week, I know, but he said, right, if you stand for something, you know, you're always going to get people opposing you. And it just shows you you're on the right track, so keep on doing it. If everyone in society goes left, generally you're better off going right, because the mainstream have got things completely back to front. Anyway, hope that helps today, guys. And you know, we're in the Truman Show, so if I don't see you later on, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And just switch off the TV and keep listening to people that are speaking sense. All right. Otherwise, stay happy and healthy, people. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.